Gary, where are we?
We are at Pioneer Truck Sales.
And what are we doing here?
Well, apparently we're trading in our beloved 2017 Tahoe for a 2020 Ford F-150 with Heavy Duty Payload Package, I might add.
Why would we do something like that?
Well, we're looking at kind of migrating from our current travel trailer into a fifth wheel. And fifth wheels don't work well on SUVs. You really need a pickup truck for that, so we're gonna go that route.
So now what's happening?
Oh, what's happening now? Well, welcome to the wonderful world of pickup truck ownership. This is a Ford F-150 2020 XLT with a heavy-duty payload package and max towing package. It is a super cab with an 8-foot bed, and also has a large cap on the back here, which, hey, if anybody's interested in a cap for an 8-foot bed on a 2020 F-150, got a deal for you, okay? Okay, so why the F-150 we picked up here? Well, when choosing a tow vehicle, there are a couple of metrics to consider, and towing capacity is certainly one. And you'll be happy to know that most manufacturers publish an extensive listing of the payload capacities or towing capacities of their vehicles, depending on how they're configured, the drivetrains, and what options they have on them. And so ours, as equipped, can tow 11,300 pounds, which tells us we need to be looking for a trailer that comes in under that. Now, when you start looking at trailers, you'll find that salespeople may ask you, well, what kind of truck do you have, or how much can it tow? And if you know the towing capacity, if you've done your homework, you can throw a number at them, and they will start to show you vehicles whose dry weight is under that number. Unfortunately, though, you will seldom, if ever, tow that vehicle at the dry weight. You will always have some stuff going on in there. And so ours, the dry weight, is 7,540 pounds. But fully loaded, the gross vehicle weight rating comes in at 9,900 pounds, which includes the water, the clothes, the groceries, the tools, the toys, etc. And that's all the stuff that you're going to have in your trailer. And so you'll want to be looking at that with the gross vehicle weight rating when you start looking at trailers, depending on what your towing capacity is for your truck. Now, for a lot of people, the conversation might end there. But there is another metric that is equally, if not more important, especially if you start talking about a fifth wheel, and that is the payload capacity, which is how much can the truck carry, how much vertical weight can the truck withstand. Now, typically, a half-ton truck you would think would be at about 1,000 pounds, but most these days come in higher than that, 1,400 to 1,600 pounds. Well, that payload consists of the passengers, the cargo, the fuel, and the pin weight of the trailer. On our fifth wheel, the pin weight is about 1,200 pounds. And that, of course, goes up as you add more things to it. That 1,200 is based on the dry weight. Well, then, of course, you have the passengers, right? But you also have cargo. And we have the weight of the hitch in the back of the truck. Maybe some tools that we keep back there. We usually have a cooler, maybe some water bottles in the back of the truck. A bag of chips here and there. You know, we fill up the tank with fuel. And so all these things combined add up to that payload. Now, Ford, for many years, has advertised that they have the largest payload capacity in the industry for half-ton pickups. They were touting payload capacities of over 3,000 pounds on their F-150s. And so it sounds like, well, that's the way we should go. Well, then you start looking at various trucks out there, you'll be hard-pressed to find a truck with an extended payload capacity like that. Unless you happen to come across a Ford F-150, which has, as one of its options, something called the Heavy Duty Payload Package, HDPP. And the Heavy Duty Payload Package provides a heavier suspension and it provides a lower geared rear end with a larger differential, heavier wheels, so that our truck has a payload capacity of 2,571 pounds. So when we start adding up things like ourselves and our cargo and our fuel and the pin weight, we're still well within that 2,571 pounds, which we would probably not have been within if we had gotten a regular pickup truck with only a 1,500 or 1,600 pound payload capacity. We would have been over that. So the good news is there are half-ton trucks properly equipped to safely tow a fifth wheel. Well, the bad news is they're rare. One bulletin board post mentioned there are only about 1 out of every 1,000 F-150s that Ford builds has the HDPP on it, and mostly because they're ordered that way. Well, as of April of 2024, you could still order a 2023 XL with the heavy-duty payload package, but it's been dropped for 2024. The thought process being that if you want to haul that much stuff, you need to step up to a 250. So a third metric to keep in mind then is the gross combined vehicle weight rating, the GCVWR, and that is the upper limit of what your total rig weighs when it's ready to travel. Now, this can be determined by utilizing a CAT scale at a truck stop along the road. These are typically used and in place for tractor trailers, but RV rigs are allowed to use them as well. Just be aware of truck stop etiquette, allowing the big rigs to have access when needed, as they are typically on the clock and have deadlines to meet. In other words, their business takes priority over our pleasure. Just pull onto the scale, roll down your window, and the operator will give you directions to pull forward and then stop. You pull off the scale and head to the office to pay. And you'll get a printout showing the weights from the individual scale pads and the total, which you can compare to your GC VWR. Ours is rated at 17,100 pounds. It came in at just over 15,000. Well, the bottom line, though, is no matter what truck and trailer combination you're looking at, just make sure that the numbers add up so that you can be towing safely. So you know the drill. If you like what you see, like,
subscribe,
and hit the bell to get notified when new content comes out.
Thanks so much for stopping by to RV Sometime,
where our sometime is
now.